So the first one that we're going to look at is from Kent Albin, and this is a really terrific piece that he did, so let's check it out.
Sneezes can travel over 100 miles per hour and contain 100,000 germs, and nothing is protecting us from this deadly force. Until now. Introducing the nostril cork.
Right on. So really, really, really amazing start, and really lots of great flow and details going on in here. I really think that some of these effects that Kent put on are really fun. This kind of like bulge thing that he has going on here, and obviously all of the elements are really well done that we kind of went over, like this number count up here, and this little animation of the type cascading down looks pretty cool, I think.
Miles per hour and contain 100,000.
I really like this transition of the type. Not really what I was imagining, but it's really good. It's this sort of like, I just think Kent really took really good care to adjust the animation curves here and turn this down a little. So when 100 goes down, the next 100,000 pops up really quickly in a very satisfying way. Yeah, so I just think he got like the timings of that really nice. Totally fun. Kent added in some of his own design a little bit here, which were these strings, which is actually a super difficult thing to do. And I think possibly, the strings could feel a little bit more bendy and more fluid. They kind of feel a little bit like once they straighten out that they kind of like lock into a very straight line, which it loses a little of the kind of danglingness that I think you'd feel, especially with the plane a little bit, but really fun. And this scene is really great. And yeah. Some of the moving texture that you've got going back here is really nice. I like that. Sorry, go back here to like here. Yep, I like that. And this here, I don't know. I guess you've got like a wiggle expression maybe going on the this background here. I find it's a little much. It's a little like jittery. It draws my eye quite a bit, especially with the yellow. So I think that might need to be toned down or possibly gotten rid of. I will say that one of the pieces of crit that I gave to Kent in the homework locker was that he could make a little bit more of a big deal of the product itself. That's always, generally speaking, a good idea when you're dealing with an advertisement that you're working on, is that the client almost always wants the product to be featured quite a bit here. So that animation of it coming on could have had a little bit more pizzazz or something to it, and possibly have been separated out so that like the bottle and the corks, moved separately from one another to just emphasize them a little bit more, I think. Anyway, this is a tremendous job and really like awesome work. I can't wait to see the final version of this, but great job, Kent. Thank you. And the next piece is from Maria Sanchez Fernandez. Let's check this out.
Sneezes can travel over 100 miles per hour and contain 100,000 germs, and nothing is protecting us from this deadly force. Until now. Introducing the nostril cork. Made from recycled foam fingers, these corks come in 3 gorgeous colors and expand gently inside your nose to provide a snug fit. When you sneeze, the corks absorb the blast and the germs, funneling them into a small reservoir at the tip of each cork. Head to nostrilcorks.com and help make the world a little less sneezy.
Okay, awesome job, Maria. As always, this is tremendous. A lot of great stuff going on here. I think for me, though, this sneeze is out of control awesome. Like, I totally love this. I want to watch that again. Turn down the audio. I really feel the sneeze happening there. So amazing job. I love all the detail work that you put into the eyes. And I'm assuming that you did the puppet pin tool to get the mouth to do what you wanted, which is really hard. So really amazing job. I think this has great flow. This is actually the second version of it that Maria submitted, and she made some really nice changes here, a couple of things. Yes, this scene I think is very successful. There's quite a lot of movement going on here, and it feels like there's a lot to look at, like that would be in like a battle situation. I feel like a little bit of chaos is pretty good here. I'm still following the action, but I feel like it's got the proper amount of like chaotic action here. So I kind of like this, and the plane is fun in the way that it moves and stuff. And I just think that it's really awesome the way that you dug into the pre-comps of the face and just animated all these different parts. Even, you could even go further with that, like this here could like rotate or whatever. I don't know. You could go crazy with it. But so really great job here. Nice transition there. I really feel that anticipation. And I think this is really nicely done here too. I like the way these kind of come in that way. It feels like that's the way they're moving as they come in because of the curve of them. So really nice job. And the product is a little bit more emphasized here. This is kind of more what I was thinking. Yeah, really fun animation on these. I think maybe this shiny like background thing comes on a little bit late here, maybe. So, that's something you could think about. And this transition here, I think a bunch of people had trouble with, possibly because of the way that Ariel actually laid it out in the boards. I'm not sure how, Maria, you did this, but right now it feels like you're cutting from one nose element to another. Maybe it's because the nostril corks switch, or maybe it's just because of the way he designed the background shift. It's just it's a very different kind of contrast between these two things here. So maybe we would have needed a little bit more of a transition there to get us into this next shot. But yeah, in any case, again, this is so awesome. I love it. Great job, Maria. I really think this is a tremendous piece. So thank you so much. Great job. Let's look at Nate Rose, who also did a great job here. Let's check this out.
Sneezes can travel over 100 miles per hour and contain 100,000 germs, and nothing is protecting us from this deadly force. Until now. Introducing the nostril cork. Made from recycled foam fingers, these corks come in 3 gorgeous colors and expand gently inside your nose to provide a snug fit.
Oh man, that's so awesome, Nate. Great job. Really nice touches going on in here. I think you really, actually, one of the things that you did very nicely is you kind of made this feel really gross back here. I know that Kent also put like a kind of a bulge thing in his, but whatever you did back here, this distortion on this pre-comp is really nice and gross and nauseating. I really like that a lot. It looks really good in here. And then this sort of organic transition that you put on, I'm not sure if this is something that you built in Photoshop or if these are elements that you got somehow or whatever, but I think in this case it really works well because it gives it that kind of snotty, just grotesque feeling. So awesome job there. And also really like a lot of the animation that you have going on in these facial layers. I think some really smart choices and ways to kind of work this and add some real nice kind of illustrative touches of your own in there. So kudos to you, really good. And I don't think you've taken away at all from this art. I think you've just added to it. You've kind of interpreted it a little bit in your own way, but I really think that you're faithful to the art. It's the kind of change I don't think that Ariel Costa would be mad about. I think he'd think it was really cool. I thought that this transition here was a little fast and a little bit canned. I think maybe you could come up with something more organic. But, pretty much everything here is really fun. The same thing, here with this product, I think like everything kind of comes on screen at the same time here, and if it was more like a 1, 2, 3 kind of a thing, I think you could wind up emphasizing the nostril corks product a little bit more, which I'm sure the client would appreciate. Yeah, I love the way that the foam finger drops down here. I find the action in this is very clear and very easily readable. So yeah. Oh, and these are amazing. I don't know, maybe use the puppet pin tool on this, but I really dig the way that you did that animation. I think it's really cool, really dynamic, and really fun. And this transition, I think it's working better here with this. With this circle wipe now. And I think with that, like you could still have the other elements, like the noses, kind of react to that. Like one of them gets a little bit smaller, and then the other one's like scaling down a little bit at the end or whatever. But really awesome job here, Nate. Once again, great job. Thank you. And last but not least, let's look at Simon Tan at his nostril corks.
Sneezes can travel over 100 miles per hour and contain 100,000 germs, and nothing is protecting us from this deadly force. Until now. Introducing the nostril cork. Made from recycled foam fingers, these corks come in 3 gorgeous colors and expand gently inside your nose to provide a snug fit. When you sneeze, the corks absorb the blast and the germs, funneling them into a small reservoir at the tip of each cork. Head to nostrilcorks.com and help make the world a little less sneezy.
Okay, awesome job, man. So it sounds like the audio gets a little bit cut off right there at the end. I would check that for your final one. But other than that, I think this is really done. But if you listen to this here,
sneezy,
it gets cut off, right? So just make sure that I think you have it in an exactly 30-second comp, and the track is actually more like 30 seconds a little bit, I think. So just check that again. In any case, tremendous job here. I love this. This is Simon's second jump through this, and I gave him some advice in the homework locker, and I like the changes that you made here. One of the things that I mentioned was this first transition. And a lot of people, you kind of see that because of the way that it was boarded, I think Ariel indicated that the nose was going off the top, but a lot of people have the nose move up and sort of stop right there, and that was one of the things that kind of bugged me about Simon, so that's really awesome that you changed it, and I think it just looks better. And it's really nice the way that you reinforce the screen motion here by having the like germs floating up there. I think that's really smart. The other thing I would say is like maybe right now they're all moving at exactly the same rate, and it would be cool if like the like bigger ones, the bigger pieces were kind of moving like faster, and the smaller ones were moving a little slower, so it felt like it had a parallax, like it was in depth, right? But yeah, and also just a variety of speed will make it look a little bit more sophisticated there. But anyway, this is a great transition. Great job with the numbers, and all this looks really sweet. I think, you know, the some of the movement, the wiggle here is a little bit much. I think on the bigger pieces that are darker and have more contrast, especially, my eye tends to like kind of like look at those a lot. So I might turn that down, you know, just dial that down just a little bit. This is fun here. The battle scene's really nicely done. I think it could be a little bit more chaotic, but I do love what you've done with his eyes in both of these cases. Really nice. Good transition there. And again, I like this wipe. It's a little bit like the way Maria handled it, but a little bit differently. But it's using this sort of the way that the art already is moving to bring it on. So I like that. Again, you know, I think the nostril corks is emphasized pretty well here. It could, I don't know. There's a lot happening in this shot. I realize it's a pretty busy shot. I think this is really nicely laid out. I take it back. Really just excellent all the way through. I like this little reveal here, the way that you put the it's like you angled the circle. It gives it like a feeling of depth. I think that's really nice. And yeah, I'm assuming you use the puppet pin tool on the hands there, the way that they look. I think those are good. So this is again, this is a really difficult transition, I think. And I'm not sure. I think it's totally working here. It seems a little abrupt. And I don't know. I would have been tempted to keep the same nose and nostril corks, wipe the background on, and then just sort of use, I don't know, the puppet pin tool or just even scale to like expand everything in a different way. This looks like it gets a little bit screwed up here. Partially, I think, because you're trying to use it to transition to this next one, which is a really great idea, and I think it's pretty successful here. There's just something a little funky about the way this is changing right there. Maybe it needs to be faster or something. I'm just like really aware of it happening. But really nice. And I like the bulge that you've got going on right there for this reservoir. I do kind of wish that it didn't just like fade on. So might try to think of a more clever way of bringing that on. But the way that you have it bulge down there at the end is pretty awesome and gross. And it feeds into this next shot really well, which I think this next shot's great. And then this transition into the end shot is really tremendous as well. So awesome job from you, Simon, once again. And really awesome job from everybody. All of the work that got turned in this week was just amazing. So thank you so much for all the hard work.